now in chapter 6, and it is all about ethical issues and problems in business and the corporate world. But before we dive into the topic, allow me to give you a quote from Confucius, one of the famous philosophers. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. So, as an introduction, business is a productive human activity that brings beneficial contribution to both people and society. It produces employment, fair deals, creativity, advancement of technology, customer satisfaction, and the like. Ironically, however, business is also an activity that provides an opportunity for some unscrupulous people to take advantage of others. At the end of this chapter, we are expected to first examine the different issues and problems in business and the business enterprise from the moral perspective. Second, develop a framework for analysis and resolution of ethical dilemmas and problems affecting business. Third, acquire basic information about questionable business practices and their impact to its stakeholders. Fourth, develop problem-solving skills using the philosophical qualitative approach to resolve ethical problems in the business and corporate world. So, one of the ethical issues and problems in business and the corporate world is sexual harassment. So, what is sexual harassment? It is an unwelcome sexual behavior that is offensive, humiliating, or intimidating. It can create a hostile and unhealthy workplace for the employees. For this reason, the Congress of the Philippines enacted the Anti-Sexual Act of 1995 or Republic Act 7877, declaring sexual harassment unlawful in the employment, education, or training environment and other purposes. Our law was patterned from the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title VII of the United States of America. Then for those who were guilty of sexual harassment will be penalized by the following under the legal penalties of Republic Act 7877. Imprisonment of not less than 1 month but not more than 6 months, and fine not less than 10,000 pesos but not more than 20,000 pesos. Then why does sexual harassment occurs? Sexual harassment occurs due to the power struggle between men and women as a response to a real or imagined loss of power, or as an expression of retaliation or a flexing of the new power. When we say power struggle, it is a situation which two or more people or groups compete for control on a particular sphere. When harassment is committed by a male against a female, it may be a response to real or imagined loss of power. When committed by a woman towards a man, it may be an expression of retaliation or flexing of the new power. This also happens because some organizations and managers allow it to happen. Then there are two types of sexual harassment, namely the quid pro quo harassment and a behavior that creates a hostile environment. Quid pro quo is a Latin phrase which means something for something. It is demanding sexual favors in exchange for a benefit or to avoid punishment in the workplace. Example of this would be a supervisor offering to promote their subordinate if the employee agrees to a date. For the behavior that creates a hostile environment, here, the behavior is so severe and pervasive that has a negative impact on the working conditions. In the hostile environment type of harassment, abuses include verbal, physical, and visual conducts that create an intimidating, offensive, or hostile environment in the workplace that interferes with work performance. This type of sexual harassment could occur if employees at a company repeatedly make sexual jokes or display offensive images to coworkers. It is helpful for the victim to directly inform the harasser that the conduct is unwelcome and must stop. The victim should use any employer complaint mechanism or grievance system available. Although the victim and the person accused of sexual harassment may be peers, the victims are in a position of lesser position than the accused. So here's the profiles of the victim and the harasser. First, the victim as well as the harasser may be a woman or a man. The victim that has not have to be of the opposite sex. Second, the harasser can be the victim's supervisor, an agent of the employer, a supervisor in another area, a co-worker, or a non-employee. Third, the victim does not have to be the person harassed but could be anyone affected by the offensive conduct. Fourth, the harasser's conduct must be unwelcome. Then, how does sexual harassment affect the workplace? As you can see in the screen, we have two: decreased company productivity and lawsuits and reputation. For the decreased company productivity, sexual harassment is damaging to an organization. When a workplace is infected with discrimination and harassment, everyone suffers. The hostility created by harassment causes absenteeism, low morale, gossip, animosity, stress, and anxiety among staff. Low productivity is more common in environments with high rates of sexual harassment. Victims and witnesses of sexual harassment are more likely to quit, leading to high employee turnover and related hiring and training cost increases. With regards to the lawsuits and reputation, a company's failure to adequately prevent and handle sexual harassment can result in expensive lawsuits. A highly publicized case of sexual harassment can also damage a company's reputation, resulting lost business. So how to prevent sexual harassment in the workplace? A significant step an organization can take in preventing sexual harassment in the workplace is through creating a safe, secure, and positive work environment by putting into practice a strong sexual harassment policy. The best policy is ineffective if it is not communicated well. Even if the company has already a well-written policy, it is important to expose it regularly through permanent posting on bulletin boards, memos, articles in the organization's newsletters, meetings, and trainings. Training programs may come up with various topics to support the anti-harassment programs and to assure each employee of a safe and harassment-free workplace environment. Before telling you another ethical issues and problems in the business and corporate world, I will first define a word which relates to it. And the word here is work. It is said to be for the purpose of obtaining economic gain for the laborer. Most agree that work is directed to the promotion of life. Being compensated for a work done or for services rendered is part of the essence of work. What does it mean? One is willing to work in exchange for compensation or reward. Such remuneration may include both financial and non-financial compensation. It can be in the form of wages, shares on profit, harvest or commercial goods, in-kind payments, or other remunerative fringe benefits. The main objective of compensation is to create a system of reward that is equitable to the employer and employee. Thus, the general concern is that justice should be substance of compensation. This refers to the other ethical issues and problems in business and the corporate world, the problem of just wage. When we say just wage, it is defined as that remuneration which is enough to support the wage earner in reasonable and frugal comfort, while the Catholic Church teaches us that it is the legitimate fruit of labor. That ends my report. Further explanations will be given by my co-reporters. Good day, stay safe, and thank you for listening.